as co-sponsor of the Jubilee bill. But clearly, debt forgiveness or cancellation is a critical factor. I met with Prevail. I said, what are your priorities? He said, our first priority is to end the drug flow. We have 7,000 police and 9 million people. And so this is a launching pad for drugs from Haiti right through into Miami. And so we need your help to stop the drug flow. Secondly, for for Haitians who live in America who do not yet have citizenship, don't bring them back here. They remit $1.5 billion a year of money as they make while working here back to Haiti, as indeed as others are doing, back to Mexico and other places. Third is Hope 2. The plan allows them to manufacture some products there, particularly textiles, and sell them in our market. The fourth is debt reduction. The fifth would be, of course, a commitment to get them emergency food, wheat and rice, and drinkable water, and cooking oil.
On the issue of agribusiness profiting, it's almost like the oil companies now with record gas prices. The oil companies are making record profits. I was looking at a report from the international nonprofit Grain talking about making a killing from hunger. They point out major multinational corporations are realizing vast increasing profits and the rising misery amidst this rising misery of the world's poor. Profits up for agribusiness giants Cargill at 86%, Bunge at 77%. Archer Daniels Midland, which dubs itself the supermarket to the world, enjoyed a 67% increase in profits.
Well, it is precisely that we're really driving family farmers, small farmers out of business, by dumping on them and undercutting their market, then make them a loan, and then they have to buy from us with the loan. So it's a kind of double hit. And so all I'm saying is that when Cubans come across the border fleeing persecution, they ought to be able to stay. We shouldn't have one policy for Cubans and one policy for Haitians. But whether it is Haitians, Cubans, or Mexicans around the border, there must be some consistency in the policy. And we know that fair policy, fair trade policy, not just free trade policy, is a key, in fact, to that. And I hope that we will see the value, right, the moral value and the economic value in helping to revive Haiti. We intend to intensify our protest until we get some attention on the issue. So much focus on the horse race, politics, who's going to be what, where, when, but there's almost no. Haiti is in the dark. We intend to put light on Haiti and on the immigration policy.
Reverend Jackson, I wanted to switch gears to the presidential campaign and ask you about a resident of Chicago, 2 of them actually, your Senator Barack Obama, and also the Reverend Jeremiah Wright. The conflict continues to brew as Reverend Jeremiah Wright has come out and spoken publicly a number of times over the last week. This was Barack Obama's response to some of his comments.
When he states and then amplifies such ridiculous propositions as the U.S. government somehow being involved in AIDS, when he suggests that Minister Farrakhan somehow represents one of the greatest voices of the 20th and 21st century, when he equates the United States wartime efforts with terrorism, then there are no excuses. They offend me. They rightly offend all Americans, and they should be denounced. And that's what I'm doing very clearly and unequivocally here today.
That's Senator Barack Obama. I'm in Los Angeles looking at the Los Angeles Times of yesterday, talking about how Barack Obama angrily disowned his former pastor and friend of 20 years, the Reverend Jeremiah Wright Jr., saying Wright's recent comments about race, religion, the U.S. government were divisive and destructive, and it undermined the purpose of Obama's presidential candidacy. Your response, Reverend Jackson,
it was
a
painful break because of their relationship as friends, pastor-parishioner relationship, but the ideology of the pastor, Reverend Wright, and that of Barack are different. Barack had to make an unequivocal, clear break to maintain his campaign for the presidency of the whole United States. And so it's a painful break, but the break was made. And I hope it now is behind them. It's a bit early to seek between them reconciliation. At least there can be ceasefire. So the issues of great substance can be dealt with in North Carolina, Indiana, West Virginia, and beyond, because while that is become a kind of sideshow on that issue, in the meantime, our indebtedness to China and being bailed out by Middle East bankers, the Iraq war continues to rage. In the meantime, the record-breaking home foreclosure crisis, issues that really do matter, off the front burner while that diversion is focused on. I must also say that the same standard on associates must apply to McCain as well. There are ministers who support him, whose ideology is not, quote-unquote, mainstream. And this is the kind of new phenomenon of judging candidates by the supporters. But if it's going to be, let it be one set of rules.
And how do you feel about Senator Obama repudiating Reverend Wright?
He did what he had to do. He didn't want to do it because of personal relationships. And I would hope that people would understand that the stage that Barack Obama is now occupying, which could have a comprehensive effect upon all of us, must have supporters who appreciate he is playing the lead in this. I support him in very strong terms because I think he has the big vision, the integrity, the strength, and his wife, Michelle, just a very brilliant and able woman. They represent something good in America. This is not empty and idle hope. Their hope has in it faith and substance. And so I wish them well in the next few weeks of this campaign.
And Reverend Wright, his position in the black church, his significance in Chicago?
It's a strong one because he is such a credible and such an incredibly bright man, a man I've known for a long time, I have highest regard for him. Here's a case where two friends have a kind of pastor ideology and the political ideology, and they're not the same. And on this stage, they clash. They would never have clashed in a normal circumstance. But on a given Sunday, you go to any given church, and ministers speak freely from pulpits. Ministers are highly opinionated. They call it the prophetic tradition. And sometimes they're not mainstream, and they don't want to be mainstream. So often the mainstream might be polluted with corruption and fear and wheeling and dealing. So sometimes the prophet is the needle in the society of the big mainstream. So sometimes on the bigger stage, that kind of I remember this biblical story where David had used his power to get Uriah killed, to go to bed with Bathsheba. But because David had all the power, he's a big political guy, everybody was going with the flow, the mainstream. And Nathan went to visit David and said, by the way, there is a case where a man has a sheep farm, another man had one baby ewe, or one baby lamb. This guy left his sheep farm to, in fact, to get this man's baby lamb. David said, that's an awful thing. That should not have happened. He said, I'm talking about you. I mean, he was a prophet speaking truth to power. That is a tradition, so I would hope that now that chapter is behind us.
We have to leave it there. Reverend Jackson, thanks so much for joining us just back from Haiti. As we wrap, I'll be in Vermont this weekend. Check out our website for a tour in Montpelier, in Burlington, and Manchester. Also tonight, I'll be on the Tavis Smiley Show. Check out PBS. Our website, democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks so much for joining us.